Presence has gotten me through a lot of difficult times. Recently I've lost my father, and there's a lot of sadness, and there's a lot of anger, and there's a lot of emotions that go along with the loss, especially someone as close as I was to my father. But every time I have those feelings, which are natural feelings to have, and I press into the presence, I have so much joy and peace. It's really hard to explain. It really, truly is hard to explain because it's not of this world. And I love it.
Amen.
So we thank the Lord for His presence today.
Amen. Amen.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna begin by sharing my personal testimony of my life and what I've gone through in my faith walk. I was raised in the church with my dad, and when you're young, you do what your parents do, right? So went to college, and you get into the crowd with the college crowd, and it's sometimes not that good, not glorifying to God sometimes. And so there was a falling away for me, as it was. There's a lot of people that have the same experience, I'm sure.
Yes.
He wasn't absent. It just was small. I made him small in my life, which I should have made him big. But he was a small portion of my life. I still could hear him though. It was small. I could hear him. And I remember vividly, it was me, my sister, and my dad. We were at Outback Steakhouse. And and the Lord had been speaking to me, I need to move to Michigan. And in the natural, I didn't want to do that at all. I did not want to come back to cold, snowy. I like the Florida weather, I'll just tell you that. So, and I revealed that to my dad and my sister, and they said, really, you feel like you need to go back to Michigan? I said, I do. Because I really desire things like a family and, a good job and things like that I didn't have in Florida. And, he told me, move to Michigan, I'll take care of the rest. Well, in the flesh, I'm thinking, I'm doing okay here. It's not too bad. So I resisted. And let me just tell you, it didn't turn out too good. So I was disobedient to God's plans. God had a plan for me, and I knew it was the right plan, but I still wanted to do my fleshly thing. So there was a few events that happened that kind of woke me up a little more. I was out one night with my friends, and someone jumped on me, and I broke my leg in 3 different spots. And I had to go into surgery. And again, I was living in the flesh, so I was doing my fleshly thing, and my flesh got hurt. So that was a wake-up call for me. Like, slow down. What are you doing? You're not in my will. You're over here doing your thing. Let me get your attention. Because if you're not in God's will, God's not going to bless you. There's so much. If you obey God's will and you're obedient to Him, there's so many blessings in your life that you'll have.
Amen. Yes.
So it was that, and a combination of losing my job, and just I was at a low point. Mm-hmm. And I turned to God and I said, "Okay, you win. You win. I'll go." I have no job, nothing. I just packed up my stuff and left. It was a small little Mustang. I just packed as much clothes and as much stuff as I could. And I drove straight through. Didn't stop, just for gas. Just drove straight through. And I got here. That's around the same time that my father started preaching here, 2010. So, I was in Grayling for a few months, and it was okay. There's, not a lot of jobs around, and I was working as the Ramada, doing my thing. But I knew God had something greater for me. And I felt Him saying that I need to be down south somewhere. I didn't know if it was Detroit or if it was Grand Rapids, but he revealed to me that it should be in the Grand Rapids area. I don't know anybody I know you have family there, but I don't know anybody from Grand Rapids. So, again, I go and I drive down, went to the library, printed my resume off, leave the library, I'm driving down one of the main streets there, and I hear his voice say, "Take a right." And I said, "Okay." So I took the right, and he said, "You're gonna apply at that place right there." And I look over at this hotel, it's like a Super 8 over here. And there's a nice Hilton over here, and there's a Super 8 over here. And I said, okay, he must meant the Super 8 because, this is, it's a lesser of a hotel. It's probably easier to get a job there. And I actually pulled in, and he said, no, across the street at the nice hotel. And I said, okay, well, let's see what we can do. So I pull in, I fill out my application, I have my resume. The manager comes out, she said, "We usually don't do this, but I want to interview you right now with HR on the spot. We never do this, but you coming in, there's something here that we want to interview you." So I was like, okay, God has this whole thing. So the whole thing was God ordained. We sat there and interviewed. They said they were going to consider, and they were very optimistic about me, and I was about them. And they asked me the question, and a lot of times when you talk about God, even in public, sometimes it can be bad, especially at a job interview. If they don't believe, that could kill the whole thing, break the whole deal, So they asked me, they said, "What is it that brought you in today?" And so I was thinking, how should I word this? And then he just said, "Don't." So I said, okay. I said, "God brought me here." She said, "Really?" I said, "Absolutely." And so that all went well. But they didn't say yes or no right there. So I didn't know. So I came back to Grayling. Now one day I was living with my mom. It was a couple of weeks later, I felt the Lord said, "Pack your stuff, go to Grand Rapids." I'm going, okay. I don't have a job. I don't know anybody. I don't have nowhere to stay. I don't know. It's scary in the flesh because you don't know.
Right.
So things were going pretty good with being obedient, so I decided I'll be obedient. Even though it was a little nerve-wracking, I got in my car, packed all my stuff up, started driving to Grand Rapids. Get about halfway there, and I stopped for lunch. I'm at a Subway, and a lady in front of me got up, went to her car, and left her purse there. So I had, the cartoon, in the movies where you have the little devil on the one side and the little angel on the other side. You pop up, and this little devil's going, "Oh, that purse is there for you. There's money in there. You need that money. You have nowhere to stay tonight. You don't have any money. That was meant for you." And the angel's, over here saying, "Oh no, that's not the right thing to do." And I just had talked to Dad about what you said, is when you don't know what to do the next right thing. Because you'll never be led astray with that.
That's right.
So I sat there and I pondered for a second. It didn't take me long. I said, we're doing this obedience thing. We're going to do it. So I grabbed the purse and I took it up front to the line there. And I turned it in and I said, "So this lady just left her purse." And there was some stuff in there that I could have probably used. I looked, looking down in there was some stuff. But God's greater than the temptation from the devil. See, that was a trap. That was a trap. He was trying to sabotage my being obedient, what God had in store for me later that day.
That's right.
And so, this is why, following His will above what you want and your fleshly desires is so much more important.
Exactly. Right.
So, I get in the car, and no lie, 30 minutes later, and I haven't even got to Grand Rapids yet. I'm 35 miles outside of Grand Rapids. The phone rings. I got the job. They wanted me to start tomorrow.
Wow.
And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't expect it to happen like that. And I was seriously touched, and I just felt the presence of the Lord just fill me up at that moment.